Good evening. This is Maestro Cretella with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Codex Edition cast. Today, we have a 1v1 on Calderis Refinery. Our first player right here is that Torpid gamer playing as the Weirdboy. The Weirdboy is now an actual hero in the Codex Edition. To be honest, I don't know what he does that's much different from the Weirdboy in Retail or Elite. I think he's pretty similar, but a lot of his abilities are just warrior upgrades and such. And on the other side, we have Blessed Spartan playing as the Chaplain, or the Reclusiarch. Sorry, the Reclusiarch. But they're kind of the same thing. He looks pretty cool. I was a big fan of the Chaplain from Dawn of War 1, but I don't actually like the gameplay of Dawn of War 1 all that much. The Chaplain, I don't know a whole lot about him either, but he definitely has some tanky melee capabilities. I think I played him once. He's got some pretty cool melee upgrades. I think he has a few Force Commander-like disruption abilities. But we can see here that these squads all have quite a bit more members than they do in Retail or Elite. We got 8 boy slugger squads, not 8-man, boy. Yeah, as well as shooter squads as well. So yeah, that's a lot of DoW2. And of course we have these 4-man scout squads as well. One of the things that may be a little hard to notice in the replay or in the cast, but is very noticeable in game, is that the bolters basically from any bolter weapon, they actually have a little bit of an explosion effect. It's much like the Dragonfire rounds that the Stern Guards have in the Elite mod, if you've ever actually used that. Most people haven't. It just has a little explosion effect whenever you actually hit with bolters, and that's because the bolters are supposed to have that effect. Bolters are actually supposed to be like mini rocket launchers, like shooting really little mini rockets. They're something like 75 caliber. I'm not exactly sure. Well, yeah. So we got double scouts from Blessed Spartan, and the Weirdboy. Oh, we can see here that the Weirdboy's his default attack is not quite the same. It's not his default attack from Retail or Elite. He doesn't do that plasma cannon attack. He's obviously attacking much faster, although at present it seems it seemed like the animation for his attack seems to be a little inconsistent, but he's basically just shooting some kind of zap of energy. No knockback, just range damage. Unfortunately, I'm not having quite as much to say since I'm the kind of player where I really like to be armed with knowledge. That's how I get better at things. I want to know everything before I even try things out. I spent a lot of time just reading about the game and watching casts before I even started playing at all, which is not actually the ideal way to learn. The ideal way to learn is to actually just grind out playing. Or actually the ideal way to learn is to do a combination of both reading, watching, and playing, but you definitely need to do a lot of playing. We're talking about actually doing an activity, so that's, in order to actually get better at doing something, you need to do it a lot. But so far we haven't seen anything particularly unique, but the Weirdboy is upgrading to bigger brains. Unfortunately, it won't tell me exactly what that does. But we do see that shooter boys have been upgraded to big shooters. Let's actually take a look. Let's see how many big shooters they get. So at least on this squad, it seems there are 3 big shooters, and they've also both of the squads have gotten a knob right now. And here we go. We actually have a flamer on some tax, and I'm not sure what Blessed Spartan wants to do with that exactly. We also have some Storm Boys out. They have 8 models as well, and we also have Blessed Spartan getting that secondary HQ choice, as it's called, although right under it, it actually says Apothecary and Command Squad. So you actually get an Apothecary squad, and in the Codex Edition, you have a choice between getting either an Apothecary squad or a Tech Marine squad. In my game with Riku, I was actually very, very impressed by the power of the Tech Marine squad. Although that could just be because I really had no idea how to deal with it. Now, interestingly here, let's take a look at the Stormboy. The Stormboy, we see that Stormboy knob, and he actually has like a hammer, one of those huge hammers, or the Bang Bang hammer. So the Apothecary Squad, ooh. And those secondary HQ choices, they actually have quite a few upgrades. They actually have they have that 3-column choice of upgrades, much like an actual hero, where you choose weapons, you choose accessories, and you choose armors. And it looked like we saw the purification vials out of this Apothecary Squad. And if we take a look at the Apothecary Squad, there is, of course, that Apothecary. He is either already upgraded to the Sanguine Chainsword, or that's just his default chainsword. And we also have just some Space Marines attached to him, kind of like his retinue, that just have power swords and bolt pistols. And I'd imagine they're pretty beastly. They certainly look pretty beastly. And we also have a 5-man Luda squad with, oh my god, how many guns do they need? This is very interesting. They appear to have two def guns to start out, as well as 3 beamy def guns. So if that works out, I mean, at least going on my impression of like Dawn of War 2 gameplay in general, it almost looks like they do suppression and AV. And we just saw a random +7 for some reason. But anyway, where's the... Right. And more shooter boys out of Torpid. Now, neither players have gone to tier 2. The timings of tiers really... Oh, those are not quite beamy def guns. They're just like cannons or something. I wonder if they're actually doing damage. They don't actually seem to be doing a whole lot of damage. And wow, they actually started suppressing very quickly after being knocked down. And yet we can also see these units kind of just walking right up to the suppression. We also have liftoff. Although the Apothecary Squad did lose 2 models, and I guess ultimately they didn't make it in, since we had that massive shooter boys coming in the back to help them out. So that's very interesting. It's obviously the beamy def gun model, but it's not quite operating that way. Oh, Bigger Brains. It actually tells us now. And again, we have... Oh, never mind. Bigger Brains... I'll read it. With my bigger brains, I's the smartest and the weirdest orc there is. And it increases his energy and energy regeneration. We also have him getting a weapon upgrade, well, the Frazzle Rod. And we'll take a look at what that does in a second. This here rod got the power of Mork, so it can frazzle the enemy with bolts of zap. Unlocks the frazzle power, whatever that does. But we have upgrades on both scouts. Shotgun scouts seem to function more or less how they do in retail or elite. And we have a huge mass of orcs right here. And, well, Blessed Spartan also hasn't really chosen to get as many units as Torpid has. These scouts actually look like they're in quite a bit of trouble. I think the scouts will get... Oh, no, I'm just kidding. They won't get wiped because that heal from the Apothecary Squad actually did quite a bit. But it looks like a lot of different things are going on. Torpid has actually already lost 1 unit. Reclusiarch looks like he might go down. And everything looked like there were suns on top of my scouts, or not my scouts, but the scouts on the screen. Something else is going to die right here. Are these tactical marines? No, the tactical marines did not die. The storm boys died. And Tack's still in their vanilla form. They do, of course, have a huge variety of upgrades. And I think that they have probably a lot of the same upgrades that they have in retail and elite, as well as a bit more. Hopefully we'll see something about them. Right now, it appears they have no health, but they are really tanking a ton of damage in cover. Tack's finally losing a model. And we have both players going to tier 2, and the timing of these tier 2s feels like it's quite a bit later than tier 2 would come in a game of retail or elite. Now it's interesting, Torpid lost 2 squads there, but it seems like the players are roughly even on resources and their timing to tier 2. Now, what I've been finding in this game, just with the way the economy is currently designed, it actually generally doesn't seem like the game reaches tier 3. That's one of the reasons why in the previous game that I played with Rico was set to a 1,000-point VP game, but that's just too long. What is this? Well, it's a special shooter model, and I don't know exactly what it is. And that's actually, as we can, the number of models for this Luda squad has gone up from 5 to 6. So that means this front Luda with that special shooter model that's being like a railgun is some kind of squad leader. It's obviously, well, not obviously, but it's not a knob. It's actually, in fact, it's actually a mech boy leader. As we can see, he's got the screw in his mouth. He's got the mech boy hat. And I think I've heard something about that before. I was reading Lex Kane a bit recently where mech boys sometimes lead certain squads. Usually knobs lead squads of boys. With a Z, of course. Boys with a Z. And we have a Death Dread as well. This is something, much like the Blood Crusher, it doesn't seem to be a whole lot different aside from just values being changed. But the purpose, function, and abilities of the Death Dread appear to be pretty much the same as they are in retail. We have the Reclusiarch now has been upgraded to the Assault Kit, so you get your one-man assault team, goes down on landing. He was upgrading to the Mantle of Unshakable Faith, and I think that actually makes him immune to knockback. I'm actually very fond of this Luda. This weird Luda. Unfortunately, weird Luda boy, mech boy might die. No, he's alright. So Torpid wins that engagement. I think he's been, yeah, he's winning on the VPs. I don't have to think. I can see it at the top. He's got more VPs. Although Spartan has the 2 cap. Both these players also floating massive, massive red. Now that's something that probably has not been tweaked a whole lot. Just in terms of, I think, especially nukes still cost the same amount of red in this game. There's still 5. What's all this blood? Nukes still cost the same amount of red as they do in retail. Even though you do seem to get more red, just with the way engagements go. I think just more units die, period, for everybody. So you just generally get more red in Codex edition than in retail or elite. Now we have some knobs coming out for Torpid. Now one of the things that's very interesting is that I believe knobs actually come out in tier 1. If we take a look at our knobs, yeah, we have knobs right here, just 5 men, or 5 knobs, not men, 5 knobs. I believe they actually do come out in tier 1. And one of the things maybe we'll get to see that I would actually like to see is that you can get, there's also a squad called Mega Armored Knobs. And they're basically knobs with armor. Although, with how they've been designed so far in this game, they actually just basically look like a war boss squad. So we'll just call them that. They're a squad of war bosses. We have some kind of thing landing now. Oh my god. That was pretty awesome. That was a Vanguard Veterans call-in, but I really like that drop pod killing, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 orc boys. And I actually really like that. I haven't used the drop pod much in retail or elite, and these days I don't main Space Marines, but I believe you can't directly target a squad with the drop pod, which is something that I actually dislike. Like, no, I know the squad, I know the enemy squad is here, and that's exactly where I want to put my drop pod. Why aren't you letting me do that? At least I think that's how it works, and it always pissed me off, to be honest. And I always just thought that was really cool, and that was really awesome. I'm going to start spamming drop pods in the Codex edition. Now, of course, Torpid just kind of stood there. There was that big-ass indicator there, and he probably didn't know that, like, oh, I'm about to get my boy smashed. But, yeah, so we got a Dreadnought coming on the way for Blessed Spartan. We also got the Vanguard Veterans. They lost a lot of models in that fight, and we have these knobs here, too. Have been upgraded to meaner and greener. They've also got huge hammers. And the knob models actually look really cool. They look quite a bit different. They've got, like, claws on the side of their hands. They're, like, gauntlets with, like, claws on the back side, which doesn't actually seem like a good idea, since, well, I don't know. But anyway, we have a potential fight brewing. Torpid just kind of sitting around, sitting on his 2-cap and his VP advantage, whereas Blessed Spartan is trying to come around to the side to harass the power nodes a bit. We have a flamer on attack squad, of course. I mean, not a flamer on attack squad, a flamer on a scout squad, very interestingly. But the flamers actually seem to be less effective at bashing generators in this game. And there's that ability from the Weirdboy. Maybe that's the Frazo ability. Actually, see, it's extremely powerful. Jesus Christ. But here's the Dreadnought. We have a Dreadnought with an Inferno Cannon. And let's see how that... Oh my god, that Dreadnought charge has actually proved to be very effective against the knobs. Looks like we have Angels of Death activated. That's what it appears to be, and it appears to be only on the Vanguards. Maybe it came from the Apothecary squad. And we also have some weapon upgrades. We now have Tactical Marines with the Melta. We have some custom tooltip descriptions now in the Codex edition. So if we look at it, the Melta fires a superheated stream of Pyrum petrol gas. And it says that it does damage to all types of targets, and actually says deals more damage the closer it gets to the target. Now, this actually reminds me a lot of the default tooltips in retail, which I personally never liked. I always wanted to know, like, tell me exactly what this thing does. Tell me the ability, tell me how long it lasts. That's one of the reasons I was a big fan of the advanced tooltip mod, and I even kept it in the game, even as it got somewhat outdated with the Elite mod. But it was still at least a good starting point, and I often at least mentally kept track of the differences. We have a Dreadnought here that is not being repaired. Finally, Spartan realizes it. And Torpid is actually managing to go to Tier 3. So we might see those mega armored knobs. I think these Vanguards do not want this fight, and there go the Vanguards. They gotta be dead. They try to retreat, but they're gonna get swarmed by some knobs. There go the Vanguards. I think now would be a very nice time for another Vanguard call-in right on top of the entire Orc mob. Particularly, I don't want it to go on the Luda squad. I like that Luda. Maybe just on the Orc boys. I think it would miss the knobs if he tried to get the knobs. And we actually have double knob squads. Now, considering I believe knobs are a Tier 1 unit for Orcs in Codex Edition, I don't recall exactly. I played Orcs. I did play Orcs one time, but to be completely honest, there's just something that doesn't really work for me about Orcs. At least not in game. They're funny and all. Wow, we got knobs with jetpacks, but they are getting owned by that Dreadnought charge, so... but now it seems like they're activating meter and greater. Here's that. Oh my god, what the hell is that? It's just fire. And there is another Vanguard call-in. Unfortunately, that wasn't quite as juicy as the first one. But, yeah, I have no idea what the hell all that fire was that just straight up killed the knobs. Was that just the Inferno Cannon? Oh no. Oh, that's the end of that Dreadnought, I think. Dreadnought at 69 health. Magic number. Now it's invincible. And this I mean, maybe it would have killed that thing if that mech boy had actually been facing the right way. He was actually facing backwards while the rest of the Luda team was facing forward. Some squad leader he is. But yeah. So Torpid's got some nice resources. Maybe we'll see some mega armored knobs out of him. Blessed Spartan not doing quite as well. He's still in Tier 2. He's got a fully kitted out Reclusiarch, though. This Reclusiarch. Man, I like that skull model. But anyway, he's got the Litany of Battle, named for the holy invocations that the chaplains traditionally chant in battle. This mighty weapon further enhances the Litany of Hate by granting battle. So it enhances one of his abilities, which I don't really know what that ability does. And he's got that Mantle of Unshakable Faith, which also has quite a bombastic description. The captain is a shining example of faith unto death. In battle, his example can fill the brethren with incredible resolve, even in the face of destruction. He grants resistance to enemy fire and knockdown immunity. So in my shorter words, He gets knockdown immunity, except by the most powerful impact. So I'm guessing that means he has immunity to weapon knockback, but not to ability knockback. Although I don't even necessarily know if that applies here. If there is a weapon knockback and ability knockback, that's how I think of things. We actually have a looted tank. A little disappointing. I wanted to see those mega armored knobs, or the war boss squad as it really is. And I mean, that's got to be an ability from the Dreadnought, which is absolutely devastating. Killed something. But I think we're finally going to see the end of the Dreadnought, since I think the tank will shoot it good. Or not. Or the Dreadnought will just win. And I'm kidding. The Dreadnought will just win. It had like... So the Weirdboy still explodes on death. And look at him. We got our rocks, but don't worry about it. Didn't do much. The Weirdboy still stands here, even incapacitated. Quite a weird fellow. But, so, Torpid Gamer now not quite on the, does not appear to be on the winning end of things. A grenade went off. Oh, one of the things I may not have mentioned is that wow, the Dreadnought, super survivable with that charge, but, there are a bunch of different squads that can get grenades. Scouts can get grenades, Tacs can get grenades, CSM Tacs can get grenades. I don't remember if Devastators or Havocs can. They probably can't. But do we have any other interesting things going on? Vanguards. Only 4 models now. I thought they had 5. But wow, look at the helmet on some of these guys. Oh, now we're looking at the Inferno Cannon Dreadnought. Damn it, all things flamethrower are OP. That would be true in Company of Heroes 2. It doesn't actually seem to be true in Codex Edition. Certainly the Scout Flamer and the other... The infantry-based flamers really don't seem to be that bad or that good, however you want to say it. Although that Inferno Cannon Flamer does seem to be quite good. Apparently Burner Boys are very good again, according to Torpid. Now, I don't know why this... What exactly is going on with this blob? They appear to be suppressed. But we're running... Let's see, it seems Blessed Spartan is running a little low on VPs. He's now capping with his tac squad. And maybe... Oh, Stern Guard veterans, huh? Oh, and the Weirdboy goes down again. So we still have Stern Guard veterans in this game, and I actually haven't used the Stern Guard veterans as the Space Marines. And right now it appears they at least have Hellfire bolts. And I think they have a lot, pretty much the same ammo type that they do in Elite. Look at the way that Dreadnought disrupts. And we hear a lot of whoa, whoa, whoa. I think the Dreadnought, no, it finally goes down. That Dreadnought was so awesome. The Scouts. That Scout Flamer, it looks cool. It looks cool. I don't know if it's that good. But we have a Battle Wagon. Battle Wagon out for Torpid. Torpid said that costs so much red, and I don't know if he's referring to the Battle Wagon, but I can say that there are actually some of the super units in this game actually do require red. In particular, I believe the Great Unclean one actually cost red, which makes some sense. We have a Razorback transport. Razorback, that seems... Or it may not actually be a Razorback. I wonder if it's actually a Vindicator coming out. Because Razorback at this point doesn't really sound like the best choice. But not too many VPs left for Spartan, and it looks like Torpid's going for a cap. Maybe Spartan will at least be able to stop it. He's got his Reclusiarch in here. But the War Boss is capping anyway, even after being knocked down. Alright, now he's done capping. He uses Warp Bomb. He's upgrading a lot. He's upgrading to get the Foot of Gork. He's got Warphead now. He's got Foot of Gork. Going to try to use the Foot of Gork ability, I suppose, on that big blob. We also have, there's going to be the boom shot from the battle wagon. And the Weirdboy just got out of there. So we're not going to see the Foot of Gork right now. I was really hoping to see some Mega Armor knobs. And what do we have here? That appears to be the battle wagon. That I was wondering what that green ball was above the battle wagon, and it appears to be the battle wagon getting repaired by about 60 times by all the individual boys. Razorback with a heavy bolter really does not strike me as what Blessed Spartan needed right now. But I guess he's in tier 2 and he just wants something. He should have gotten another Dreadnought. The Dreadnought was beastly. Like I know anything about this. I really don't know. But actually, I'm not saying that from a practical point. I'm saying he should have gotten another Dreadnought because that Dreadnought was freaking awesome. Not too much... Oh, that's the end of the game. I was about to say, not too much time left for Spartan. But, yeah, so it was another game of Codex Edition. As you can tell, I don't know nearly as much about this as I do as the Elite mod, which kind of changes things. I personally feel I did not like casting it as much because I like to know what I'm talking about. Although I think it was maybe a little more dynamic. In any case, hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.